Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome to the G.R.I.N.D. Simon Arias here. Get ready, it's a new day. What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the G.R.I.N.D. Get ready, it's a new day. We got Big Perm in the house.
What's up, y'all?
And we got Ashley Rust in the house. But guess what? There ain't no rust. Ain't no rust about it. Rust about it. She's an absolute beast. So those of you that don't know, Ashley Rust, she was our #1 producer in the entire company internationally for American Income Life, which is the company we represent, which is the company that I represent. So to be #1 in the entire company out of over 5,000 different people, different agents, and to watch the journey was spectacular because she called her shot.
Yeah.
You know, before the year, she was starting to talk about, I'm going to be, on stage. And, I remember that going from, okay, she's going to be on stage. All right. Yeah. Now she's going to be #1. So that was crazy. How did you get into the company? How long you been here? 4 or 5 years?
It's actually 5 years now.
5 years. I felt like,
yep. 5 years. It's crazy how fast it's gone. But yeah, I actually, my background was in behavior analysis. I worked with kids with autism. I was doing behavioral therapy, got my master's degree. Loved it. Loved working with the kids, loved helping people. I just always have felt called to do something along those lines where I know I'm giving back and helping people. So loved what I was doing. I moved to Indianapolis.
From where?
I was still in Indiana, but it was about a couple hours away. So I kind of wanted to get away from home a little bit more.
Yeah.
I've always been real close to home.
Outside a little bit.
I felt myself just being very comfortable being with my family and, not really
venturing off.
Yeah. So I felt like it was a step I needed to take in order to grow a little bit. So it was a little scary, but I went to the city not knowing anybody, just went out there and I worked at an Autism Center for about a year. And I liked it, but the environment I was in was super negative. When you're working with kids with disabilities, you really got to have a positive mentality.
Yep.
You definitely got to be on your A game. And so it just wasn't a great environment. And after about a year or so, I felt myself becoming negative. It's not the type of person I am. I didn't enjoy it anymore. So I ran into Mr. Cunningham, James, which he was on here a couple weeks ago, I think. And obviously you guys are real close. So he had been talking to me at the gym several times and kept putting a bug in my ear. I was like, I don't know, not for me.
How long was that?
Man, I want to say it was probably, at least 6 months.
Imagine if he would have gave up.
That's true.
No one, I've never met anyone successful that quit their way to the top. Yep. So that's, so it's like, imagine if he would have said, it's been 6 months. It's been 4 months. I'm done trying to.
That's it.
Imagine that. All right. So you met James at the gym. 6 months. He's still going, staying on you. Finally.
Yep. He was like, why don't you come in? Because he heard me start to talk about how unhappy I was in the position I was at. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go check it out. He's been bugging me for a while now. So I took a leap of faith. It was scary for me, but I went into an overview and I just had this overwhelming feeling of like, this is where I'm supposed to be at. So from there on out, I just kind of went with it and
crushed it. And so we'll get back to that. But now I know I've seen you basketball on your social media. I've seen you shooting hoops. She can shoot. She can hit it too. She can hit them from deep. Free throws, 3-pointers. She got some definite game.
Crossover.
Now, did you play in high? She got a crossover. Did you play in high school?
I did. I played in high school and I played in college as well. I was offered a full ride scholarship for college. So
he was a real baller. Okay.
I could shoot a little bit.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I still got it. But yeah, that sports has been my thing since I was little. I remember being 6 years old, starting gymnastics and then getting into sports a little bit more. I was just always really competitive. My family, we joke about it. They say it's a Russ thing because my dad was just real big on all of that. So it's in our blood. That's what we talk about. Just being very competitive, very athletic.
We a lot of people in our business tend to be some of the most successful people. We call it business athletes. Yep. It's like former athletes, people that are athletic. Why do you think, or do you think it helped you at all, having an athletic background coming here?
Absolutely. I think just that nature, of being competitive. If I wasn't competitive in our business, I would just kind of like just get by. I feel like, it's that competitive drive that makes me want to be better and reach the top and like see what other people are doing and try to go after that. Especially men, with being a
for real, ain't nothing wrong with that.
With being a woman, a lot of times you are in a male dominant industry, and I think ladies are proving themselves more and more now these days with a lot of things. But just being a woman, I was always that girl when I was younger, playing with all the boys. The only girl out on the court. 10 other guys, and I just wanted to be better than them and beat them in any way I could. So I feel like that has carried over into the business and helped me quite a bit.
Still beating the boys. Still number one.
Still trying to beat the boys.
What did it take to be number one? Because one of my favorite leadership authors is John Maxwell. I always talk about how much he's impacted me, but he at the last time I was with him in London, he said. People all the time tell him that they would love to do what he does. Right. How many people he helps and inspires, and the books that he writes, and speaking and traveling and all that. And he said, yeah, but what I tell people is, would you want to do what I did? Right. You want to do what I do, but do you want to do what I did? People would like to be number one, but do you want to do what she did? So what did it take? Like, who was that? Who used to say, who sung that song? Nelly? What did it take to be number one? What does it take to be number one? Yeah.
Man, I think it's more than people even understand. You don't realize it until you're actually doing it. It's one of those things where I always used to look at, some of the top producers in our company and be like, gosh, what are they doing? They got to be doing something crazy. Like, how are they reaching these numbers? I always thought it was like some type of mystery to do what they were doing. And I started doing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this. It was the complete sacrifice of my time, family. I lived out of a hotel last year. I probably was home maybe 3 weeks out of the whole year. Lived out of a hotel, rented car. So I'm paying a car note, my rent, and then I'm also paying for hotels, a rental car, the whole food while I'm gone. So money, being able to sacrifice that, paying somebody to schedule my appointments. I paid somebody a salary last year that usually somebody would be making in 1 year. I'm paying that out of my pocket to somebody.
Just for an appointment. What a boss.
Just for appointments. So, having that determination and that being willing to sacrifice that, the time was the biggest thing. I'm alone all the time, 24/7 in hotel rooms. That can get to you mentally.
No doubt.
I think that was one of the biggest challenges a lot of people can't overcome.
How did you manage the mental side of that? The stress level of competing to be number one, being lonely. People are spoiled. We got to tell them about this new virtual world. No hotels in a virtual world.
Right.
You don't got to hit a hotel to go get these appointments now.
It's been the best thing ever.
Ain't it crazy? Ain't it crazy? But anyway, how when back in the day, last year, back in the day, how did you manage the stress like that on the road? Because you were hitting it like a rock star. That's like that, rock star running around, on tour.
Yeah, he's touring.
It did. It felt like that. People were like, "You want to hang out?" I'm like, "I'm not there. I'm not in Indiana. I'm in a whole nother state."
Like, where you at?
But I think managing that, number one, keeping myself spiritually focused, because that's always been a big thing for me. I know that's why I'm at where I'm at right now. It's just that I've never lost faith. I've always had a relationship with God, and just making sure that I stayed on top of that. First and foremost, and then feeding myself mentally with just readings and just trying to keep a routine so I didn't get in my head too much while I was away. I had times where I was just like, oh my gosh, I just want to go home.
No doubt. Right. Come on, keep it real.
I'm over it. Is this worth it?
Even I catch myself getting negative sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got to check myself mentally when no one's around. I'm like, dude, you went on the grindcast talking about being positive and you negative today. You know what I mean? It's
I've had those conversations.
Out of 365, you ain't going to be perfect every day.
No, absolutely.
But what stops you from quitting or giving up when you do? Because what that means is you're going to have those mental battles, those conversations. Something pushed you past those conversations and back into a positive focus and belief. What were those things? You think it was the spirit in the mind, body, spirit?
I think that's a lot of it. You also got to have a why. We talk about that a lot in this business. Having a reason that you're doing these things, because if you don't have a reason, like for me, it's not the money. The money is a great thing that comes along with all the hard work.
Right.
But that's not my main motivation. So typically, if that's the motivation, people don't last very long because it can only do so much for you. For me, it was my family. You know, my mom is like my number one motivation. So people that know me, they know that we have a really close relationship, and just, you know, wanting to make her proud and being able to do certain things for her. I think that's what was always in the back of my head, is just like, being a person that people can look up to, and just like, having success and, you know, something positive, because we've had a lot of negative things that have happened like throughout our lifetime with our whole family. So I think
people see you and they think, well, she just, you know, driving nice cars, and I mean, you take unbelievable vacations. You know, it's like you're like the postcard. You know what I mean? You take a picture, it's like they should hire you for the postcard, man. Looks like fun. You know, I mean, just amazing places that you go, and that's that whole thing. Yeah, you like to do what I do, but do you want to do what I did?
Right.
But what were the struggles? You know, what maybe personal life struggles, if you want to share any, or early childhood struggles. You know, people see you and, you know, you're number one, and you're in shape, and you're doing your thing, and traveling. It's like, seems like, oh, she must just had it easy, man. You know,
everything's all good. Unfortunately, I've dealt with that stigma for a long time, even when I was younger, playing sports. You know, I was one of the top athletes in our area. So being that person, and, you know, I was really good at not letting things show. So when I had a lot of stuff going on, you know, I would cry behind closed doors, but nobody ever knew what was happening, like in real life. I feel like they would just see an athlete, and, you know, everything's cool. Same thing now. You know, I don't always post certain things about my personal life. I like to talk about it, though, because I do want people to understand that I've been through a lot, you know, to reach this point. And I think that's the thing with a lot of successful people, is that we've all been through some things, and that's usually what pushes us to be successful and keep doing what we're doing. But I mean, starting at a young age, I think my parents got divorced when I was 9 or 10 years old. That's kind of when everything started. Some of the rough things, you know, I'm not from a rough neighborhood or anything like that. That a lot of the people have stories about. I came from a 2-parent household at first, had a nice house, pool, everything was good. And then my parents got divorced. At the same time, the same month, I want to say, this is how I remember it, but we went through a murder trial. My sister's boyfriend at the time actually murdered a girl. Oh, wow. And so we, you know, as a 10-year-old, you're trying to process all of that. Like, parents getting divorced, I'm going to have to move to a new house, go to a new school, you know, and at the same time, like, I always loved my sister's boyfriends. I was 10 years younger. So, you know, I was like, I had a crush on every single one of her boyfriends. So it was hard to process that too. Is like, now he's going to prison, you know, what's actually happening. And that's where it started, you know, just some of the changes from there on out. I'm the youngest of 4. So I got a 40-year-old sister, and then a couple in between. I'm 31. But at that time, I was the only one that was left at home. So it was just me and my mom. And I think that's why our relationship is so close, too, because it was just me and her for the longest time.
Too tight, yeah.
And so, yeah, just starting then and seeing some of the things that played out. My dad had drug and alcohol problems pretty bad. Eventually, you know, when I was 23, that's how he ended up dying, was, you know, just the life that he lived and the lifestyle. It took him.
Was that before you started AIL?
It was. I was 23. I think I started AIL 26.
Okay.
Yeah, 26.
Okay.
So a few years before that. But yeah, you know, there's just been so many things, like drugs and alcohol real bad in my family. Not just my dad, my brother, you know, thank God he's in a different place now, but he had drug issues, tried to commit suicide. There's just things I remember as a child, like going to school, and one of my friends coming up to me, she was in a HOE program. It's for people that want to be like a nurse and stuff. And I remember her coming up to me one day at school, and she's just crying. And I'm like, why is she crying? You know, she's like, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. And at this point, I didn't even know what had happened, but like, my brother had beat my dad with a baseball bat so bad, almost killed, just stuff that like people never even knew about.
Right.
That were like, I'm having to deal with on a regular basis, having to testify against my dad in court as a child. Like, things that I still remember now that have shaped who I am, for sure. And it's just kind of like, for me personally, I want to change that cycle for my future family. And so just, I think that's what motivates me even more. Is just
so many people go through those types of that trauma and can't come out of it, can't motivate themselves. They end up going the opposite direction
way,
of because of all of these things in their upbringing. They go this way. Yeah. What do you think, you know, if there's someone listening in that circumstance, you know, what did you use to get you going this way with all that pain
Yep.
and all that stuff going on versus that way?
For me personally, sports was my outlet. I would be in the gym 24/7. That's where my mind, I would just be able to like not focus on anything else. It kind of like was a stress reliever for me. And even to this day, I may not play sports anymore, but I'm in the gym all the time. I still use that as.
You don't get on the court at all no more?
I mean, it's
You don't you don't dribble that ball at all?
It's been a while.
No?
I'm not afraid to. So
Yeah, but you can. You can
I-
just, okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I can.
Yeah. Better get in that court.
Yes.
Post up, like, I still got it.
I do have a basketball hoop at my new house,
Yeah.
so I'm
There you
excited,
go.
excited to use that.
All right, well,
but-
let's use that. Go
What
ahead.
new crib?
Oh,
You got a new house?
I did.
Oh.
I bought a new house back when,
A new house?
when COVID happened, so it's
Okay.
been fun. But yes,
You bought it by yourself? No
did.
dude bought it
No,
for
it's
you?
you,
Nothing like
all
that?
you.
You went and got your own stuff?
All Miss Rust.
I
Okay.
bought my own house. It's pretty nice. I never thought I'd be in this position to be able to get something.
And how long you been here?
5 years.
5 years.
Yep. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's another thing I like to encourage and inspire, especially women.
Yeah.
I see now, especially social media, you see so many things, and it's it's disappointing. I get on there, I'm like, gosh, what are we doing?
Right.
So I think for me, I like to be an example.
What do you mean you get on there and you think, what are we doing? What are you seeing on there?
What are you seeing?
What
on
are we
that?
looking at on the gram?
Scrolling down and what's going on in that?
I'm seeing, ooh,
Like what? Like
I
bad,
feel
like a lot of bad stuff?
Yeah, I mean, just women portraying themselves, and, just I don't know, being
Just not
out
right.
there.
Just
Yeah,
not right. Just not
yeah.
what you think they should
all
be
over
doing.
all over Instagram, naked and stuff. You don't have to do that. I feel like what I've learned, because this took a while for me to get to this point. Growing up without a father, my dad wasn't around a lot because of the drugs and alcohol. And then when he died at 23, he's just not here to help me
Help you.
with certain
Right,
things,
certain
and he's
things.
just never been around. So that can hinder a girl for sure. So I know there's a lot of women out there that don't have fathers around, and I know that can definitely how you portray
Change,
men
yeah.
and like
Yep.
how you
Change your outcome. Yep.
treat yourself and feel about yourself without that love there. That's huge. So for me, I like to be that example for people to show, like, hey, listen, my dad wasn't around either, but I'm not out here wilding out like acting crazy,
Right.
being naked all over the place,
You
or
ain't twerking on nothing
shaking,
like that, yeah.
shaking my booty on Instagram.
Right.
No, I'm not.
Not
I'm
that
not.
WAP, they got going on. That crazy song. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
But yeah,
Everybody
so-
dancing to that stuff. That's crazy, ain't it?
It's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I get a lot of feedback from people just about being positive and being, independent and not relying on somebody else. And so I think that's important. For me, when I was younger, my coach always used to say, Ashley, you're people are drawn to you. You have this
Your leader.
charisma about
Gift.
you that people are gonna follow you. And so I've always remembered that, even from a young age, and I've thought about that. I'm like, I don't want to be that person that's out there doing things and people are following if they're not good things. So that's kind of helped keep me humble and grounded too, as to like making sure that what I'm doing is, if somebody was watching and I didn't know they were watching, like, I want to make sure it's good stuff. So
good stuff, yeah.
that's definitely
Positive.
definitely important for me, especially for women. I like to be an example to show people you can have it all, but you don't have to do certain things to get that. You can actually get it on your own, and you can do it in a good way, and not have to be out here doing stuff that
No
we
doubt.
see.
No doubt. I mean, I'm drilling that into
Yeah.
Amaya's head,
Yeah.
my 18-year-old, of like, as a man, if you want a good man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we ain't, if I can include myself in there, I try. I know, I'm not looking for somebody that's
Right.
moving too fast and you know what I mean? I'm trying to, like, I'm thinking, how would this woman be as a mom? How would
Right.
this woman be as a wife?
Right.
And you attract those things based on how you portray
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yep.
If you portray yourself as a certain way, then
You're gonna get
you're
that.
gonna attract a certain thing. So, but you've transitioned into being a beast. Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You straight commission. 100% it's on you. Not just independent, but legit independent contractor.
Right.
Independent, it's all on you. I love this life as a business owner. I love this life as an entrepreneur, being able to control your outcome and dictate, within 5 years to be able to do the things that you've been able to do, new new car. I can't even keep up. Do you still got the Range Rover? Would you do? You have the Range Rover?
I still have it, but it's about to. I'm getting a new one pretty soon.
Swap it out.
Range?
Do something else.
Yep.
She was just in Mexico again, right? She was in Mexico just recently.
Yep, Mexico. I love traveling. That's probably like one of the things that motivates me too. I love being able to just, hey, if I want to go kill it for a week, then I can go somewhere for a week and not have to worry about it.
Something sweet.
And come back and kill it again. So, the flexibility of what we do is amazing. It's changed my life. It's opened up so many opportunities for me just to like live a little bit more and see actually what's out there, because that's something I think I missed when I was younger. Just being in sports and stuff, no doubt you're dedicated to that. Right. You don't get to go anywhere or do anything. So now that I'm free of that, I have this ability to be able to do what I want to and live how I want to and create the schedule that I want to. So like you said, people love it. They want to be that, but you got to be willing to sacrifice and put the work in, because the last 5 years I haven't, it wasn't until just the last year, well, not last year, but probably the year before that, I really started traveling because I was so focused on work.
Right, 3 years.
Yep.
3 years in the game. Then you started to loosen up a little bit, let yourself enjoy some of the fruits of your labor. Yep. But that's something people don't realize is they want the fruits of the labor first 6 months. Let me go travel now. Let me go, instead of investing into your future, it's really short term, 36 months, 3 years, 4 years to be able to do the things that you're able to do. Right. It's a small investment unless you don't realize it in that perspective. What tips would you be giving to people that are entrepreneurs or coming into this business on what your thought process would be, and was it all worth it? What's it like now? And what did you have to do, and what would you suggest for somebody to do to get like you?
Yeah, I've always been a hard worker. That's never been an issue for me from the time I was young with sports, but you have to be willing to just dedicate a certain amount of time, sacrifice. Like I tell my friends now all the time, people just know now not to even ask me, hey, you want to go out, or whatever, because they know I'm usually focused on my work and trying to get to a certain point. But that willing to sacrifice, even if it's a short amount of time, like it flies. I've been in the business 5 years. I cannot believe that it's gone so fast. But fast forward now to where I'm at, like I could take a month off and be fine. Like who can take a month off of work and still pay all their bills and have money in the bank?
How many hours did you work in the beginning though?
Like
how many hours was it in the beginning? Like how much?
I would say I was probably working 70 to 80, I would say is a good number a week. In the beginning. And
first 3 years.
I didn't take time off. I was grinding, like literally grinding every day, Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to midnight. Sometimes I get home at 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on how far I had to drive. So it was, it was a lot up front, but I wouldn't take it back for anything. No. To be in the position that I'm in now, bought a house on my own, got my own car, got money in the bank, can travel. I got money saved, just everything. It's a whole new world. And for just 5 years, people think that's a long time, but
5 years.
But I think about like the people we work with or people I talk to, like 30 years they put in and they're living off of a small check every month just from, 30 years that they put in. So it to me, I'd rather put up all that time up front in a few short years and be able to, live comfortably.
Amen. If you hear that out there, regardless of what your business is, regardless of what it is that you're in, I think it almost relates to anything. You need to go all in my experience. You need to go all in all the way for a period of years straight, and then you will reap the rewards. You'll reap the benefits. Definitely. But if you don't go all in, this process drags out longer. Yep. If you're 80% in, it ain't a 3 to 5 year thing. No. It's a 10, 15 year thing. And people wonder why, what happened? How come it's taking me so long? Well, if you just went all in.
All the way.
All in. 3 years, like you can't even get through college in 3 years.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about you're coming out and making doctor, lawyer money right now within a 3 year period and living that type of lifestyle. And, these people ain't living that type of lifestyle. No. They got to show up every week. Doctor can't take a week, a month off and all that stuff all the time. In their first 5 years building a practice and paying back student loans. The life that you get to live, the rewards that you get to have is worth that upfront sacrifice as long as you're taking care of yourself. Right. Notice she said, man, mentally, I was doing this, doing that, but spiritually, I was taking care of myself. I know you're big into fitness and in the gym. We just saw you on, what are you up for, some fitness award or something like that up there? I can't keep up. What is that?
It was.
See you like out there, you know what I mean? I'm like, what you doing now? Look like you was on ESPN, the magazine or something.
Yeah, it was just a little fitness competition thing that I entered into. I was trying to get some money for my sister's organization. So anything I can do to help and give back, whatever that is.
What was your sister's organization?
She actually recently just started a nonprofit Autism Center. My nephew has autism. That's what got me into doing that before. He's 16 years old, so we've dealt with it for a long time. I'm so proud of her. She's the complete opposite of me when it comes to being comfortable, like talking in front of people. I wasn't like that all the time though either. I just recently have been able to do better with that. But
you mean you weren't comfortable talking in front of people?
No, like I never would want to do something like this before.
You're shy away from
and
it.
now
I'm good.
We're out there.
Now we're out. Yeah.
I've had to learn to become more comfortable. Yeah. I'm still timid with a lot of stuff, but when it comes to business, like I'm not anymore. Yeah. I know that like my voice needs to be heard with a lot of things. I think that's something that God's really shown me, like I'm being used as an example for a lot of different things. So I can't,
big time.
I can't be quiet anymore.
Sure, let it out.
But yeah, I'm so proud of her because she's just stepping outside her comfort zone, and I'm excited to see what happens when
how long has she had the nonprofit?
So she started everything in 2018 is when like the vision started. Okay. But we still have not opened the center yet because starting a nonprofit, there's a lot of money, fundraising, all that stuff that has to go into it. You already
to the choir. It's a whole nother level.
So
nobody would understand how hard it is. But here's the thing: when you get into that world, you respect it so much more. You never look at a nonprofit and what these people are doing the same ever again, because you know how much goes into it. Time, money, how hard it is to get people to want to give. You know what I mean?
She's doing it all on her own too. She started off with a business partner and that fell through, so she's like, I'm not giving up on my vision. This is something I want to do to help other families, because it's helped my nephew so much. He wouldn't be where he's at right now without the therapy that he received when he was younger. So I mean, for her to do everything on her own, she is doing amazing. So we're hoping we just got a little bit more to fundraise to get the doors open. The center's coming along. Everything's been donated for the building. People in our community have been great. We're from a small town, so everybody's been really supportive with that.
She got a 501c3 and all that stuff already set up?
She does, yep. So
I got 5 on it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I'm in. Before you leave, make sure I'll contribute.
We appreciate
for sure, no doubt.
We're super excited. It's going to help a lot of families. She's already got a whole everybody. It's already booked. Basically, people are just waiting for the doors to open. So we got a lot of families to serve, and
that's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Super excited for her. So I'm hoping that I have been a little bit of inspiration for her, just seeing like what happens when you step outside that comfort zone, because. When I got into this business, I was scared out of my mind. James,
we all were.
James always talks about it. He's like, you were so scary when you started. I'm like, man, it was something I've 100% commission. Never did that before. Nobody taught me about that. We're trained to be 9 to 5. This is what you need to do. And it was new to me. So I was scared. I'm like, I got bills coming out of college, making $25 an hour. That's pretty good. I'm doing okay. To my 3rd month in, making $15,000 in 1 month, I'm like, what is this? It was just a whole nother ball game. So I really truly believe that hopefully that had an impact, showing her stepping outside that comfort zone, what it's going to do. So I'm super excited for her.
I know you're just getting started on the lives and the people that you're going to impact. I mean, you look at how young you are, man. I know personally how much left I got in the tank. You know what I mean? And you're a lot younger than me. So, I mean, you got so much. 5 years, you just getting rolling. You know what I mean? Imagine your first 5 years playing basketball, how good you got after those first 5 years. You're at the, just imagine how good you're going to be and what you're going to be doing for people 5 years from today. Off the cuff, as we start to unwind here, $20 I'll give you if you can tell me what his first name is. You know what Perm's first you know what Perm's first name is?
I guarantee you.
Don't Perm, don't tell her.
I should have done some research before this.
Nah. It's hard, you ain't gonna find anything. We've been hiding his identity for a while. But let's see, can you okay, so no clue, so then we're going to a guess. So if this is a guess, If this is a guess, then I got 100. I got 100 on it. I'll give you 3 guesses. If you could get it, in 3 guesses, I'll give you $100.
Dang.
3 guesses. Who do I look
3
like
guesses.
to you? What's my name look like to you? I'm like Birdman. Respect my name.
I wanted to call you like
respect on it.
Dimitri or something.
Okay, that's one.
Dimitri, nah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Is this something weird? Is this something
Let's
you
give
would
him.
expect?
Let's give her your last name.
Calderon.
Oh, are you Samoan?
Some people's
This
some
is
people say
the
that.
video needs to be the opening of this, Giovanni.
Yeah. So
Needs
we
to
make
be.
that.
Are you Samoan?
Samoan?
That's the
That's
beginning
it.
of it.
That's-
Okay.
Yeah, that's
all
when
right.
you open. So
All right.
that's wrong.
What was the guess though? You got 2
Okay,
more
yeah,
name
you got-
guesses.
you got-
That's
yeah,
great.
you got
Oh my
2 more
gosh,
name
you guys
guesses.
are putting me on the
Last
spot.
name's Calderon.
Last name is that.
Oh my gosh. I don't
What is my first name? Da-da-da.
Jared.
Jared. No, I'm not Subway.
Come on.
I'm not from Subway. Come on. Who else?
One more.
Who else?
One more.
One more. For all the marbles.
I can't
Can
even.
you get it? It's like we at the casino.
Look at her boxing me out, trying to look at you
Yeah,
like,
she like, I gotta
give me
have to
something,
guess.
dog.
Come on, last one. You got it. You got it. I know you got it.
Is it? I want to say it's like something different.
Say it. Say it. Whatever comes to your mind.
Saul.
Saul, I love it. You're the best. You're the best, dog.
Say it. Saul.
It's
No,
Jose.
it is Jose.
Jose, why couldn't I get that? That's like so normal.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy.
I love it.
I had
Saul.
to give you something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Are you Samoan?
Appreciate that.
I love it. I love it, bro. That's awesome. Ashley, thank you so
Thank you for
much.
coming.
Thank you
For
for
sure.
coming all this way. Thanks for being on the Grindcast. Thanks for the role model that you are for so many people in this company. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Grindcast. Get ready. It's a new day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Trying told him I'm a beast, blood.